Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal news and updates. I'm your host, bringing you the stories that matter. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from Royal Daily Report. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes king. Two-thirds of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles. You know that feeling right before something big happens? When the room goes quiet, people stop smiling, and nobody says what everyone's thinking. That's exactly where Buckingham Palace was. No alarms, no announcements, just tension. Behind those gates, the palace wasn't panicking. It was deciding. And when institutions like that get quiet, it's never good for the people on the outside. There's a story that has been spreading for weeks now that once he becomes king across the board, he's going to strip everyone that's not a working member of the royal family of their titles. And really, that would be just because it's easier to manage a smaller royal family. And then you can slip in no longer HRH for Harry and Meghan and their children. And it doesn't look so personal if you take everybody out at the same time. Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive coverage. The palace confirmed a formal review of royal titles, specifically focusing on non-working royals. That phrase right there, that's the dagger. Because it wasn't random and it wasn't routine, no matter how politely they dressed it up. This review came after closed-door meetings about streamlining the monarchy, which is royal language for someone's getting cut. And suddenly titles weren't just shiny labels anymore. They were under inspection, legal inspection. Who gets to keep them? Who gets to use them? And who's been treating them like brand logos instead of honors? 6 out of 10 people supported stripping those titles. Public opinion was already loaded. The palace just pulled the trigger. And somewhere in California, that announcement landed like a cold slap. He wants to really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen had said to Meghan, forbade her from using the HRH title. And of course, Meghan's just blindly gone ahead and done that. Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report. We bring you the truth. The moment the words royal titles under review hit the news, Harry snapped. Not emotionally reflective snapped. Full-on panic snapped. He wasn't prepared. He didn't see this coming. And for the first time in years, the thing he thought he escaped was calling him back with consequences. Phones out, meetings abandoned, reality crashing in. Because this wasn't about bad press. This was about identity, his name, his children, his future. He tried calling home, demanding the process be stopped immediately. The response he got was ice cold and painfully clear. If this matters to you, show up. So he did. No Meghan, no cameras, no polished image. Just Harry alone, boarding a private jet back to London, racing not toward reconciliation, but toward a reckoning he never thought would actually happen. And just like that, the boy who ran from the palace was flying straight back into its grip to take down the monarchy, but at the same time, elevate themselves for financial gain. And that is also unnecessary to me. Remember to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for updates like this. Let's rewind for just a second. Remember when Harry and Meghan said they were leaving because they wanted privacy, peace, normal life, freedom from the spotlight? Yeah, about that. Because what followed wasn't silence. It was a content rollout. Netflix cameras inside their home, a headline-making Oprah interview, a Spotify podcast, a memoir that spilled more tea than an entire royal banquet. And every single time, those shiny royal titles were right there. Duke, Duchess, Prince. So, let's be honest. You don't quit the job and keep using the company logo to cash checks. Privacy became a brand. Trauma became a storyline. And the crown, the same one they said was toxic, quietly became the foundation of their business model. And that's when the palace stopped watching and started taking notes. Now, let's talk about Meghan, because this is where the contradictions start stacking. On a podcast, she once said, "I didn't grow up knowing much about the royal family. Soft voice, innocent tone, wide-eyed confusion. Royal Daily Report, bringing you the stories others won't tell." But palace staff remember something very different. They remember Meghan studying biographies, practicing curtsies, asking detailed questions about royal history, especially Diana. This wasn't a clueless American stumbling into royalty with a yoga mat and a dream. This was preparation, strategy, intention. And then came that Ellen moment, the curtsy to a champagne bottle. played for laughs, mocking the formality she once insisted she didn't understand. Cute until titles were suddenly on the chopping block. Because now the joke doesn't land the same when you're panicking about your kids losing the very status you said didn't matter. That soundbite didn't age badly. It aged Now, here's the detail that really made Buckingham Palace see red. When Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties, they agreed to stop using the HRH title. Not suggested, not implied, agreed. And yet, it kept showing up on documents. In correspondence, behind the scenes. That might sound small, but in royal terms, it's not small at all. HRH isn't decorative. It's an honor tied to service, not celebrity. And continuing to use it after being told not to, that's not ignorance. That's defiance. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and stay informed. Working royals don't profit from their names. They don't license their status. They don't monetize their position. So, when the palace saw HRH being treated like a brand asset, the line was officially crossed. This wasn't about family drama anymore. It was about rules being broken repeatedly. And once the palace decides rules matter again, that's when things get very serious. When Harry finally lands in London, there's no warm welcome waiting. No smiles, no hugs, no dramatic reunion moment. He's taken straight to Clarence's house, and the tone is immediately clear. This isn't a family visit. This is a meeting. Harry goes in hot. He demands the title review be stopped. Immediately, he reminds his father who he is, a prince. Diana's son, someone the public still cares about. And that's when the air changes. Because the response he gets isn't emotional, it's surgical. This isn't about you. This is about the future of the crown. That's the moment Harry realizes something terrifying. His memoir, his interviews, his pain, none of it gave him leverage here. Titles aren't sentimental, they're structural. And structures don't bend for feelings. Don't miss our next report. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report now. Then it gets colder. William walks in, unannounced, unbothered, and absolutely done. No small talk, no brotherly warmth, just tension so thick you could feel it press against the walls. Harry accuses him of orchestrating the whole thing, of pushing Parliament, of wanting to punish him. William doesn't deny it. Instead, he says the one thing Harry never wanted to hear: you chose this. You wanted freedom. You left. And this is what freedom looks like. Titles aren't souvenirs. They're not consolation prizes. And they definitely aren't business tools. When Harry pleads for his children, that's when the conversation ends. Because in that room, mercy isn't currency. The only thing Harry walks out with is the understanding that the crown doesn't negotiate with regret. Up until this point, there was still room for spin. Family drama, sibling rivalry, a father and son falling out. But the moment Parliament stepped in, that storyline died. Because when lawmakers get involved, this stops being emotional and starts being constitutional. And that's exactly what the palace did next. It removed the feelings from the equation entirely. Royal Daily Report, your source for the truth behind the headlines. A late statement confirmed the review of royal titles was moving forward with cooperation from both the Crown and Parliament. That one detail changed everything. This was no longer a private decision. It was a legal process. Then came the sentence that froze everyone in place. No individual is exempt. Not a prince, not a duchess, not even Diana's son. That line wasn't written for drama. It was written for permanence. It meant there would be no exceptions, no backdoor deals, and no emotional appeals that could override the process. And here's the real power move. Once Parliament is involved, the palace doesn't have to argue anymore. The crown doesn't have to explain itself. The law speaks for it. At that moment, Harry wasn't negotiating with his family. He was standing in front of an institution that had already decided the rules matter more than reputation. And once that door closes, it doesn't reopen quietly. Back in California, the mood shifts fast. Phones are ringing. PR teams are scrambling. Lawyers are being looped in. But something is different this time. No one's rushing to help. The usual allies are quiet. The headlines aren't sympathetic, and the palace completely silent. Then, late at night, the final statement drops. No drama, no explanation, just a reminder that the review is ongoing and the law will take its course. That silence is the message. Because the monarchy doesn't argue, it doesn't clap back, it corrects. And for two people who built a brand on being heard, being met with silence is the loudest consequence of all. They wanted freedom. They wanted their truth. But the crown just reminded them, you don't walk away with it in your pocket. That's all for today's report from Royal Daily Report. We've brought you the inside story of Harry's panic, the palace's cold response, and Parliament's involvement in the title review. If you found this information valuable, make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report. Hit that like button, share this video with others who need to know the truth, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next report. This is Royal Daily Report, bringing you royal news that matters. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.